what's her name?
I don't recall.
Okay. To try to see where we can go with our HVAC systems in Mesa, Kemper, and Louis, Ariola. And I got an email from her today, and she has actually a few days ago, but I was out. She has reviewed all the files. She has looked at the statute of limitations up, and in some cases, she says they are, although because we were aware of the deficiencies. And in some cases, she says that we're still within the window to do a lawsuit to get all these things fixed, all the HVAC things fixed. Okay, that's one story. The next one is Fujitsu has visited us, and Fujitsu says we've never seen an install that's this bad. And we are going to come back and we're going to do a proper install and make this right. That's what they indicated. Yes.
Good.
And so, and then I have Mr. Miller and his firm looking at this whole thing. The piece from our outside lawyer, though, that's scary board, is that she says she is already $1,800 into just, did we have a case that she could take forward? And the answer is yes. But she's estimated that the case is between 50 and 100. That's being weird.
Okay.
So she's $1,800 into it so far. And she says to take this forward and make a litigation case out of it is between $50,000 and $100,000.
So can we tell Matthews that he needs to pay our lawyer fees?
Well, that's actually a stipulation. Go ahead, Brad.
So her name's Diane Wolfson.
Okay.
Just to put that on the record.
Yeah. I searched, I've seen it.
There are, Brad Miller, I'm a lawyer with you guys. It's based on the conversation with Tom, my recommendation is that she's got an interim sort of proposal that has to do with pushing this towards the first round. There's some, because of the nature of the action, there are sort of administrative and legal processes that have to be filing. There's a CDAR notice that has to be provided, and then there's a mediation process before you get the right to sue. It's kind of like if you were to go through the EEOC as an administrative process. I recommend that we have her as an expert in real estate and in these sorts of projects to take us that far through. In the event that we get to a place where we need to litigate, there are other options that might have a different cost basis, and we can look at those.
So today I sent you an email, but I also sent that same email, well, answering Diane,
Right.
but I included Rick from Comfort Air and Ray and Eddie and, a bunch of people from here. So I think getting everybody on the same page is going to be really critical here. Fujitsu's is saying one thing, Diane saying one thing, but they haven't talked to each other. So that's a problem. So in that email, I said, I think we need to get that together. We're talking about, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
So
The district ought to pursue its rights here. That seems to be an easy call. And so it's just the manner in which we do so. I think having a subject matter expert is wise at this point so that we don't miss. For example, I wouldn't have necessarily been aware of the pre-filing requirements. It would have been a learning curve for me to get there. So this is good, but let's see, once we get through that administrative piece, then there's a more general aspect to the way litigation can work. And we can consider where we are.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you, Brad.
So we're working on it. We're going somewhere.
We're going, oh yeah, we're moving.
Okay.
I'm continuing to get ESS complaints from our Vocal Visions people, also from within. And I have a file of those that I plan to send to Paul Foster tomorrow. It does contain names and things, so I cannot let that out to the general public, but keep in mind that I probably have, he said 10 or 12. And those will be going to the state. I'm
So
concerned.
is that, they're supposed to let us know November, the end of November?
That's what Mandy Berg says. Yeah, I didn't
I
realize that.
started to say, I read that from my BOSI
Yeah.
meeting minutes. I wasn't able to attend the BOSI's meeting.
Right. It was interesting that you or Sherry were not included on that email either.
No, I wasn't.
No, you weren't.
I just read I read the minutes and stuff,
Right.
so.
Right.
But no, we're not included on a lot of things right now,
Right.
which goes back to my original statement with George is I would like it if it was more cohesive and less that would like to work with BOCES, but to be divisive.
Right.
So,
Right. And Lisa's been working really hard with the high school kids to get those kids that can be out in the regular classroom, We're doing very well with that. Today, the portables, Ed, you were in on that meeting with the portables. He says it will be ready today. But now we have to get the inspector down to do the final inspection.
And they've already been contacted, he said, and stuff, so,
but
but everything's done and finished at Mesa.
the contractors,
complete.
they have not told us when they're coming to inspect.
They've been contacted, was the word I understood, right, Eddie?
Yes,
That's what I understood. They've already put in for a schedule or whatever they do for inspection, and so now it's
That's good.
hurry up and wait,
Yeah, wait on the state.
so.
And the last thing I have is we attended the delegate conference, you and I, and that was really good. We had lots of good conversation, especially with the Durango board member
Yeah.
about issues with special
What
ed.
was the other one that was there with her?
From Clear Creek.
Clear Creek.
Yeah. They have a superintendent in my position where they can only work 140 days out of, 140 a year. And I told them how I do it and they're gonna call me. They haven't yet.
Yeah.
But they wanted to call me because I've got some experience with it. And also last Friday, we had Elena Gallegos here. That was a double thumbs up. Again,
It's good.
and we and Durango split that one. And we each had 20 people there or so, and Deb did a great job getting us all food.
Was BOCES said,
No, Bosie's was not there. They are actually doing one with her, same thing,
yes, I knew that.
this Friday. And I gave up all my slots for other Durango people to
Good.
take.
Thank you.
But it was really good. Drew, I'm just picking on you. What'd you think of the training Friday? You were the one back there going, holy mackerel.
It's very enlightening.
I learned it, I learned from some email somewhere. I read something somewhere that everybody learned a lot.
Everybody learned a lot. We had some commonalities, which was interesting. We had some commonalities with Durango. And the commonalities go back for years. And it's just,
There you go.
yeah. Elena Sharp.
It's kind of like reading the writing on the wall, huh?
It was.
Well, she provided a pretty fantastic, basically guidebook for everybody. And I just kept thinking, man, if I'd had that 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
How much help it would have been.
I see all the principals nodding their heads.
It was really amazing. I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys, but it was one of the best trainings that I've been. And the way she outlined just the thinking with the toolkit idea, I think it was just really easy for all of us to follow and kind of latch onto. And yeah,
She took probably a 5,000 page document and made it usable for us in a rush. And that was pretty amazing.
There's still a couple of hurting from the fire. It's very.
So I went to one last
Yeah,
spring
yes.
and we're going, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
it was amazing how little I knew.
Yeah. It was good training.
Good.
Expensive, but good. Get what you
Well,
pay
you
for.
know, sometimes you get what you pay for.
That's right.
sorry,
This noise is here. Good.
So did you want to add anything else?
Well, I'm done. Thank you very much.
Okay, next on our agenda is the Assistant Superintendent report. Mr. Ramirez.
So you have it? Yes.
I would not.
Okay. The report this evening, you'll see some consent agenda items later in the today. And we're going to receive regarding the playground drainage issues at the middle school. Also, we have on the 19th a request for qualification proposal for updating our 5-year facility master plan in preparation for the Beth bond applications later in January. Also, the FEMA school safety training that's on the 24th and 26th. And then we have vulnerability assessments with a high school principal and middle school principal on the 23rd and 25th. Then we're participating with a Region 9 tactical interoperable communications called the TIC plan. And that has to do with Chuleta, Dolores, La Plata, Montezuma, San Juan County, and the Colorado State Patrol and all the law enforcement, fire and so forth. So there'll actually be a live roll call. Will be conducted within the school district with all campuses. When that's complete, we'll report back to Jim Sprantlin, the county emergency coordinator. And then open gate is the consent agenda. This one open gate that you saw the presentation during the work session. And then we're asking for approval should that be successful with the training and it's used in district. Then we're asking for permission to go ahead and complete the remainder purchase of 9 more open gates for a total of 10. And then behind there, you see attachments for the public notice for request for bids or request for qualification proposal. Stand ready for any questions you may have about the report or its attachments.
Where are the open gates gonna go? Which buildings, how many,
We'll go in all the buildings,
all the buildings,
including here at the district office.
and how many, like of the spares are we gonna have?
We're gonna have 2 at the high school, 2 at the middle school, 1 for the football field, and then the elementaries. And I hope that my math adds up to 10. All of this is funded through ESSER 3. It costs money. It's chargeable to implementation of the ESSER 3 grant.
I'm excited to see those, so.
Do we have much ESSER 3 left? Daniel, I guess that's your question.
Yeah, I think we're not the daily conversation at this
Yeah.
point. We're really meeting weekly to discuss. So there's so much, but leave me out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the Executive Director of Student Academic Services Tour Board Report. It's the PAR.
Good evening, board. So my report this evening is brief, as requested at the RE-1 board retreat. What I've done is I've provided some information about how we did on our goals that are highlighted in our strategic plan. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at those. I color coded things so that they would stand out from the goal. So hopefully that was beneficial or helpful in understanding those. I would say going through them, there are obviously some grows and some shows and some good things and some things we need to work on. But I could go through them each individually, or if you have any questions, I'll certainly talk about them. One thing I would like to note on section B, item II, our will we reduce the number of read-plans in grades 1 through 3 by at least 15% annually through dedicated reading intervention blocks. That's kind of an interesting and elusive term or a piece of data because yes, we did reduce our number of read plans, but you also gain a bunch of new read plans on an annual basis because you've got new kids coming in and they're tested early and we find out that they need those sort of services. So it's kind of a revolving wheel. Yes, we did move some kids off of there, but at the same time, we're going to continue to have to serve more kids as well. So we'll continue to work in that direction, obviously, but it's never going to be just as simple as getting 17% or 15% off because you always have backfillings coming. So.
Plus.
And the other thing that I wanted to point out to you, Mr. Knox made me aware that we won't have 2023 graduation rates available until the end of next month. So that's why they are not indicated in the report at this time.
About Andy Swanson and he's going to be down here pretty soon, right?
Yeah, and that's not highlighted in the report, but what's another component of the work that we've done with the Easy Grant and those resources is he and his team are going to actually come on site and work with us on observation and feedback with our principals. So they're going to be here. We're going to do walkthroughs at one of our schools, and then they'll break off into individual schools and have some principals there to do more effective walkthrough observations and feedback and providing the type of information that teachers need to know so that they can adjust instruction for effectiveness. So he's going to be here over a period of 3 days in November to do that.
That's all about coaching and, you know, taking AJ's position. We all have coaches.
Right.
So that's great. Thank you.
So those are the things we got going on, right?
And we're working on the K2 math,
I'm sorry,
working on K2 math.
K2 man. Did I not indicate that in?
Yeah, it's in here.
Yeah, 2A.
That's what I'm asking. We decreased.
That's the only one that went down.
Yeah,
Kind of like had a question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one area where we definitely need to continue to probably throw some resource at as far as like intervention time. You know, math in general is something that I think I can say pretty accurately that we've struggled with over the years. And in the last couple of years, we've actually had the opportunity to bring in some interventionists that are in our schools to work with kids on that, some other programs as well. You know, we'll continue to work on those as long as we can find the people that will do it, but that's where some of our focus will be as well.
We have a strong math program.
Well, we're continuing to use Eureka Math, which is something, at least at the elementary levels, we've used for a number of years. And it depends on how you feel about math these days. I mean, it follows Common Core standards. And those are challenging to some folks, just as far as like, it's not as straightforward
It's
as it
challenging to me,
was.
yeah.
But that's what the state asks us because those are state standards. So that's what we're trying to meet.
Thank you.
And that's all I had for you in my report.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, thank you. All right, report F, Executive Director of ESS reports, Lisa Nicole.
Thank you. So I submitted a long report similar to what he did. I wanted to make sure that I was following what the strategic plan is and wanted to report on the things that I've been doing in each of those areas. I don't know if it's something that you want me to go over specifically. I think it's spelled out pretty well. I noticed on here, we talked about, we're just monitoring goals. We're monitoring all the goals, not just reading, writing, and math, but definitely we are targeting those goals right now, the reading, writing, and math specifically, just to see how students are doing so that we're making that trajectory for growth. So that's a piece of that. And then what I included here is really what we're doing in the district, but we're still working with BOCES. So we still have their service providers and they're helping us with speech goals and
So I read number 2 where it said behavior has improved since we have started moving them into regular general ed.
Yeah, so there's an improvement in behavior. The more that those students are in with their peers, there's better models and more with their peers. So
It's good news. Thank you.
It's awesome to hear.
Okay, any questions for Lisa? Okay, moving on to Executive Director of Human Resources reports. Cindy,
Good
great.
evening, thank you. I took the opportunity to provide a recap of the information that we discussed during our work session regarding our employee insurance and benefits renewal. I condensed all of the topics into my report and provided you all of the attachments to review. And I would like to make an overall recommendation is to increase the budget amount for our healthcare premiums by 4% overall. The added funding would allow to cover high dollar claims in the events of an increase in 2024. The summarized cost per employee per plan is available in the attached cost breakdown. And also Montezuma-Cortez School District Healthcare Committee will be established to review potential premium increases for coverage. I have sent out an invitation for staff members to volunteer to become a committee member to review all things healthcare. And it will be recommended, but I'm not sure if it will be consensus to provide an 80-20 election with Montezuma-Cortez School District contributing 80% of the employee's premium. And then updates will be provided to the board for the remaining months of 2023 once those decisions have been made by the committee. After speaking with Mr. Corbett with USI, there's not a renewal contract per se to sign. It's we've signed the contract with all of the providers, and since we're not making any changes, we can just move forward with their recommendation to continue services with each one of those providers, Sun Life, Proximal, Anthem, Rocky Mountain Reserve. If we wanted to make any changes to our coverages at that point, we would need to sign new contracts. So basically the only true recommendation that I'm making is for budgetary purposes, moving forward to increase the healthcare premium per budget by 4% for the next year. Also, I would like to report that I did attend the McGrath Response System training that was sponsored by CIDSIP. The training focused on Title 2, 6, 7, and 9 compliance. The sexual harassment and misconduct and discrimination and bullying training was through the McGrath Response System. It was intensive 2 full days of training. The second training will be held on site in the near future to meet the requirements for building administrators and staff responsibilities for compliance. And then also I attended the board retreat held this month and provided all of the members with insights into the high priority items of the HR department, including the renewal for our benefits. And following your request to give updates on the HR section of the strategic plan, I gave detailed responses for each section. And if you'd like me to report on them, I can, or answer any questions. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, especially when we're talking about insurance. So thank you for providing me the opportunity to provide you with my board report. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you.
Are we just not getting the exit surveys? I haven't seen that in a while.
Approximately 4 per month. However, in the last 2 months, I provided them last month, and I think we had 2. So it's my intention to switch this. And instead of doing an exit survey and relying on someone who has left the district to provide this information, I am proposing that we do staff surveys, probably after the first of the year, and ask questions that will be approved by the board and our superintendent, satisfaction surveys. So we can address issues before it's too late and the staff leaves. if there's overall issues, we can address that at the time and perhaps correct it before it leads to someone leaving.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Especially since I don't get a lot of response.
It's a different mindset during at that time, at least too. I was gonna ask you something.
I sent out a survey recently in regards to the health fair, asking the participation, who would be interested in what services, and it was so promising. There was over 100 responses in the first 2 days of the survey. So people are getting them, they are responding to them. And I think it would be a good way to review, employee satisfaction in reporting.
So we have the activities office filled back in now. Is that?
As of today, I received a recommendation to hire. Actually, it's a transfer for an employee at the high school who has interviewed and will be transferring into the athletic administrative assistant position. It is not on the city calendar because that decision was just submitted today.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I guess my other question, and it has to do with recruitment, and housing and everything. As far as, I mean, has that process already been started? As far as the partnerships and communications in that way?
Of reaching out to, as far as,
I just see the housing authority, planning and zoning authority.
I have contacted and working with the housing authority, and then also rental agencies, for example, Extra, and Century 21 and Remax, and I'm working closely with what they have available and providing that information to any new recruits or possible new employees. And I just recently did for 2 individuals. We're getting applications, really awesome candidates. Great interviews, making offers of employment. Individuals are happy with the salary schedule. I mean, they're saying it could be better, but they're not turning it down right away. You can see that like they had in the past. And then it comes to the point where, okay, we're ready to take on this position. We're going to relocate there. And then the housing.
Yeah.
Is huge. There isn't anything available. There are homes for sale and there are some rentals, but the expense, I mean, an average rental for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home is $1,500. And that's way more than what teachers want to pay, especially if they're moving their family here, And that alongside with insurance coverage makes it very inequitable for anyone trying to work for the district. So we really need to address those 2 things.
So then if negotiations and discussion has been discussed with the housing authority, what have they offered so far? Not much, they're just giving you what they have available.
No, we've had, Mr. Burris and I have sat in on a couple of different Zoom meetings where they took our recommendations and looked at what we had to possibly offer. One was turning Minot into teacher housing or affordable housing. I know that there's more affordable rentals that are being built on Empire. There's also some other low income housing partnerships that are being put together, but nothing yet as far as the solution to this problem. I am providing as much information to potential candidates as possible to bring them here. In the real estate business, do you have any suggestions?
It's tough right now. I don't know. I think there's a lot of people in the community that, I don't know, this is just, I guess, hopeful thinking, but potentially investors that might be willing to partner with the district, and just help out a little bit, cut their income down by $100 a month or something, but that's kind of a tough sell for a lot of investors too. But I don't know. I would just think of. Yeah, we'll see.
There's a lot of creative ideas that have been offered, for example, working with our CTE program or ag department or buildings and trades, trying to purchase materials and working on the tiny home villages and offering a reduced rent for new teachers coming on board with that. There's a lot of insurance obstacles to get past in doing something like that. But if we had the funding and the ability to grow the program, that would be a solution. Another one would be to renovate some of the district's own properties. Partner with the housing authority to provide a opportunity where you can be involved in building your own home at a reduced amount. Those are all options that Mr. Burris is looking into.
Any other questions? Okay, right, we will move on to Director of Finance report, Danielle Bradford.
I will start tonight by talking about who donations we received. Southwest Health Systems gave the athletics department $250. The Moore Foundation gave us 2 donations or grants, one for $500 for a community business lunch. And then they also gave us $9,700 to do some, get some new equipment and install it for the culinary arts. So that'll be very exciting to upgrade some of their equipment and accommodate some increased participants. And then Mr. Rich might be able to speak to this further, but AJ Paybill had given us a donation of $6,221 off of his invoice due to the work that's been happening here in the district. So that was a pretty big deal. That's all I have for donations this time around. There are several requisitions exceeding $5,000 on the consent calendar. I don't have anything specific to mention there unless there are questions. I've provided financials for you. Noting here, the 22-23 financials are still unaudited at this point. We have been deep in the audit preparation, but the official audit hasn't quite begun yet. So we're hoping that next Monday we'll be doing that. And as we get these numbers finalized, I'll present some new financials. There were some questions about, I believe, the county revenue and how that was 136%. So that is due to us receiving double the amount of forestry monies that we this last year. So typically there are some funds that we split with the county Department of Transportation. This year they gave it all to the school districts in our area. So that was double what we were expecting. We do still have to pass some of that through to charter schools. And then also we received more than anticipated for mineral wastes. So that's what's going on there. The school expenditures are a little bit lower, and that's really due to most of our expenditures being salaries. And really the teachers are receiving their first paychecks in September. So if you look at the fourth quarter financials, you'll see a lot of it is in the first 4 months of salaries there.
I have a quick question on that. They don't receive their first paycheck till in September.
So they're receiving checks every month, but it's just for this current year. How can I explain? Yeah, the fiscal calendar. So April through August is all in the fourth quarter. When we realize that.
Okay.
And then July and August will start in September. Or I guess July and August are part of that fourth quarter. The first we'll see of salaries is in the September financials. If that makes sense.
Okay, but they're still receiving their paychecks at the end of the month.
Correct.
Like, so in.
Their contract is broken out throughout.
Okay.
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 New teachers, when they get,
It's difficult.
when they get their first one.
Yeah.
September.
So they work most of August and not, almost 2 months before they get the first paycheck.
And we can actually fix that. We've done that before. But what it does is takes whatever their salary is, and divide by 13 rather than 12. And some people find that desirous because they come to us right out of college,
Mhm.
broke college.
Always a problem with any new teachers, but first month it is sort of nice to eat once in a while too, besides ramen.
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah,
probably,
well,
you know.
So for new people, how would we work that? Would we just ask them if they want to do that?
They are provided their new employee paperwork, including, you know, all of their W-4 and their direct deposit, the copy of the contract, when all of that is provided there, explain in detail how the pay is set out, and then give them the option. if They want to sign up for the 13 or not.
So they're given that option when they start, and then the next year they can go back to the 12 month.
Yeah.
That's good. At least I'm glad we're doing something there.
At least they have the option.
Yeah.
Sure makes their 1 month paychecks from all of
They
them.
also have the option, provided them to not receive those paychecks during the summer if they need the higher amount during.
To do like a 9 month contract.
Okay, and then the annual comparisons, just wanted to point out a couple of things that might be red flags, or might appear that way. In the government funds, you'll see almost $2.5 million deficit or, you know, expenditures. What happens there really is we have to spend those funds to then ask for reimbursement. So those will be coming back to us. It's just a timing issue. The bond redemption fund, that will mostly be depleted by if the invoices on the consent calendar are approved. We have this month invoices for both principal and interest for the bond. And that will remain, enough will remain for the interest that will be due in December. Or in June rather. These won't be paid until December. They're on the agenda. I think that's all I had on financials unless there are questions about those.
You have an offhand, how long is left on that bond then?
I'm sorry.
That's for the high school, right?
That's for the high school.
How long is
We're
left
about
on that
halfway
bond?
through that. I
You know how long is left on that?
think about 11 years, if I'm not mistaken. We're about halfway.
So I thought we were somewhere right in there.
Year 9, I think, yeah.
Thinking we were somewhere right in there.
Okay, and then there are some updated salary schedules. There are a couple of new stipends that was based upon some requests from teachers. We wanted to see some new ones on there. We received some additional grant funds and really worked with some of the departments on planning. So there are some small details in the stipends that have been updated. I think that's still a work in process. We'll likely have more in the coming months, depending on what makes sense for the different schools. There were some slight corrections to the coaching. It was just an oversight where we had incorrectly labeled some of the basketball head coaches and assistant coaches. And then lastly, for salary schedule, we were comparing the steps between all positions. And I realized there was quite a discrepancy or a difference between the newly added positions of HVAC or the licensed certified maintenance positions, as well as the master mechanic positions. So what we tried to do there is we didn't move anyone that's on that schedule. We did not change their salaries, but what we tried to do is make the steps align better with all of the other positions. Athletics travels, we have ordered credit cards for our head coaches. So we're eagerly awaiting those and working on policies to get those out to everybody. And then lastly, the mill levy certification dates. There's Proposition HH coming out on the ballot this year. And should that pass, the dates for our mill certifications will be changing. I think in the past, we deadlines were for the county to get us numbers by December 10th, and then we have to certify by the 15th. This year, if that passes, the county will have until the 29th to get us the numbers, and then we have to turn around and have them certified by the 5th, which that happens to fall right in our holidays, those 2 weeks. So this was a conversation up at the Caswell conference. And what they had suggested is either we schedule a special meeting for early January around the 3rd or 4th so that we can get those certified, or possibly allow supervisors to certify them. So I have provided an example MOU that was provided for those attending the conference, which is attached to my report for your review and consideration. And that is all. Any questions?
Thank you, David.
Yeah, thank you, Danielle. So when would we need to, it's not on our, as far as, an MOU? Just before,
Just before the holidays, really.
okay,
And it could be, I need to reach out to our assessor, maybe they will be able to get us the numbers before then. That's, you know, they have up until the 29th to give them to us. So worst case scenario, it would fall during those 2 weeks.
If I can sign for it, do we need to do a resolution stating that, or
I do think.
Oh, Brad?
In here.
you're here?
Yes, I guess it would be my recommendation that you wait and see the outcome of the election, and so you can make a decision in your November meeting that comes after the election. And if that's the case, just this, I did look over the MOU and it looks appropriate, so. And I would say that that's going to be a common practice, because so many schools will have that sort of early January still off, and so they're going to defer to their superintendent or their CFO. Well, I guess not their CFO, typically the superintendent. You wouldn't be out of the norm.
okay. So we'll revisit that after the election. Okay. Any other questions for Ms. Brefford? Okay, let's see, we'll go to. Okay, we are. Okay, any board reports?
I have a couple different things in the last week or so. Last Thursday, we had, it's called Key People, it's for board secretaries. And the whole Zoom deal was on elections. So basically all the election timelines up to this point, pretty much everything done by the county clerk, so that everything is there. Once that happens, once the election happens though, certificate of election has to be done by November 29th. I'm sure Deb of all of this stuff, or sooner. And depending on if there's a recount or something like that, it can always be delayed. But and then new board members have to take their oath within 10 days after being certified. If they do not, that office is opened again. And there was one board in Colorado that had to, all 5 members had to run this year because they didn't get their oath in the 10 days last year is what they said. So might want to make sure that's done. And also have to sign a confidentiality form. And then Deb also has to send new member info to CASB and CDE within 10 days after that certification time is done. And for new members, which I guess we don't have any of them here tonight that are running and stuff, but at CASB, there'll be a breakfast in Bartlett Hall on Thursday morning for all new board members. And then on the 3rd Wednesday of each month, there's a new board member Zoom with CASB, and they went through the whole itinerary for the next 12 months on there of all the topics that they were going through, which were really, really valuable. Sound like good.
Yeah.
So that was that meeting. Then today, I'd also did the rural roundtable. And the main topic was CTE. That was the only thing sent into them. And as a result of our discussion, I will probably be doing a breakout session at CASB on CTE because Leslie thought that I ought to be doing that. So
That's what sees right up
so
here.
that was the only thing that was sent in today. And then we also, but after we got done with that, then we, of course, the next topic that came up was housing. And one school district in Eastern Colorado say that a new experience they had this year was they offered a position to a new teacher from Ohio, I think it was, they said, or somewhere back there. They showed up in town with their U-Haul. They got out of their pickup, looked around, got back in the pickup, and they drove off and never even unloaded anything. So yeah, we're not the only ones that have these issues.
Yeah.
So
That's what you call.
that can happen. Telluride, their problem that they're doing right now is because of limited housing. One of their other issues that I suppose their HR person is doing is they're actually matching roommates because they have 2-bedroom apartments. So they're trying to find teachers to match up with each other to share a 2-bedroom apartment and make that satisfactory for
There
them.
you go,
So that's a different job position too, Cynthia.
Yeah.
San Luis Valley said that most all, within about a 60-minute drive all around Alamosa. Everybody lives in Alamosa, so everybody commutes 45 to 60 minutes. They said that's, so that's a main topic of almost everything we talk to everybody about is housing. I mean, I wish there was an easy answer, but
In Telluride, they offer transportation buses that
Mhm.
go from Montrose to Telluride.
yeah, I wish somebody could come up with a magic answer for it, but I don't know if it's going to happen that easy. There's just too many other things that play into effect on this, not just the housing, it's the investments and.
Take for a huge portion of the rental availability in town. For new individuals, there's just, the rentals aren't there.
Mhm.
Because people are making high profits off of renting their home, short-term rentals through Airbnb and VRBO.
Mhm.
So if you want to secure long-term rental, the prices have just tripled
Mhm.
compared to what it used to be probably 40 years ago.
Yeah, I know, like Laura say, you can't put any short-term rentals in there anymore.
They put a cap on it,
Yeah. So, it's just more important that I think we ought to look at Menard or something and try to figure something out for us. So, one of the schools that was on there, I don't remember where they were from. They said their goal is to have housing for every employee in the district available. Every bus driver, every person in the district, they want to have housing available to them, whether or not they'll use it. That's a pretty high
What
goal.
is their solution?
That was not all of it. I don't remember what town they were from either. I don't remember, but or how many employees they had.
Easier said than done, I think.
It's a nice.
I thought that was, I've never heard somebody say that. Yeah, for every employee, that's.
Is that affordable housing or free housing?
Wow.
Sort of a combination of both, because most of those districts, like in eastern Colorado, I know one of them that was on the Zoom today. They have housing there, and I'm sure that it probably cost a teacher $150 a month probably to stay in their housing.
We could go to,
So,
we offered something like that.
mhm.
Yeah.
So,
That would be amazing.
that's all I have for those, but.
Good, that was,
So I went to Glenwood Springs and we did my legislative. And a lot of Region 12 were there. And we discussed different things as each resolution came up, and they were surprised. And I would say, well, this is surely going to pass, and no, it's not going to pass. And they, yeah, and it did not. And that's when a lot of Region 12 saw the line between urban and rural. And some of the things that were passed. So just be aware, there will be some things coming down. A lot of the rural districts did not. That voted against, but it passed. So, and I think you were surprised over some of them. But we were handed out our new bylaws. So then at the December meeting, there we need a voting delegate. So Deb, you will need to, I can't be a voting delegate. I will be off the board. So you'll have to have another voting delegate. You need to send it in. And you'll be voting on bylaws. So I will give you the book of bylaws. Please read it carefully and vote for rules. And then you will also be doing election of officers. Not officers, election of board members. We have one running from Bayfield. And Paul, what's his name, Paul? Bayfield. Was it Paul? Do you remember? Anyway, he's worked at it. He listened, he asked questions. I think he would be a good board member. So you need to think about that. I can recommend that Ed do be our delegate, voting delegate, because he's done it before. But that is a board decision, not mine. So that's what I did.
and that's not a vote, that's not, it goes to a vote, it's just, we all agree.
You do the point system.
And when does that need to be done by?
Deb, do you know? I think ASAP.
On what?
who the delegate is for the conference in December?
I don't,
I'm thinking that it's like now.
I know the resolutions came out today. They sent those out, but
Did it make you cry?
I didn't get to read them yet.
Oh.
Save that up for
Me
tomorrow.
cry.
How did you say that?
So, but, yeah, you need somebody that,
Probably a little bit of times. It seemed like the delegate for the last meeting when you and Tom went to, I mean, they just put that out like 2 weeks before the meeting to make sure.
no, we sent the delegate, mine in, what, 2 months before? So I would say you need to do it ASAP. So if you're willing to do it, but I think
I'm
you
planning on
should,
being there. So.
because it's only gonna be you and Sherry that are current members, so. And Sherry is,
Not, yeah. So
doesn't know if she'll be there, so I guess that kind of means you're gonna be there.
do we know you will be, right?
Well, let's see, I get to go there or the NFR.
Well, I guess where she's going. So I will be there, but I cannot be a voting delegate. Because I'm going to be doing the new board training while I'm there, so. Okay.
Okay.
Any other board reports?
President Noyes, I was just gonna point out, election wise, we had moved the November meeting later instead of earlier than Thanksgiving this year in anticipation that the election would be certified. So that's November 28th, fingers crossed, election certified. And we have this current board set the agenda, and then we do the oath for the new board members and they take seat. That's my hope.
Okay,
So I would expect all of these same board members for November,
All the what?
all the current board members for November 28th.
I will not be there. I have this.
Oh,
And according to their deadlines on that Zoom thing that we're on, the 29th is the
Deadline.
deadline for it. So hopefully we have it on the 28th. I'm
hopefully
hoping,
it's
yeah.
done before that.
And you'll also need to have your election of officers that night.
All of us, yeah,
Midnight.
do it all at the same time.
Yeah, you do everything that night.
Well, it depends on when it's certified, right?
Or you'll have to have the oath of office. You'll have to have all of it. So it should be certified by then.
if it's.
With 10 days, once it's certified, we have 10 days to do that.
Right. We have
So
basically-
say they certify
The
20
Yeah, then you can do it. So.
Yeah, yeah, we got to
You'll
play
have
with
to
the
see it
dates.
until the 29th.
Never
We will
happened.
have to have a special meeting on the 29th. Because everyone has to leave for CASB the 30th.
Wow.
Okay, okay, well, let's just, yeah,
Because I'm,
yep, okay, go ahead, Mr. Wall.
How's everyone this evening? Mike Short.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, I retained my position for the Yukon Tribal Council for this.
yay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's my third term. So also too, I'd like to, we've been speaking with Superintendent Bruce that we'd like to have a executive session for next month for Christmas. And really need to come down and have some serious updates. Y'all invited on it, but we'll have that. Hopefully, we can make it happen with the meetings, that time and date. And you're also welcome, sir. We'd like to have you down the Brad as well.
Thank you.
Part of it. But it's always good to have everyone and participate, because we need to know basis, and it'd be a good thing to do, because that a lot of us are, and a lot of the council members are concerned about some issues that took place. Well, sure, we need to advantage of it. So that's just my thoughts. But
Yeah, yeah, we should,
other than that, thank you.
yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Board reports. All righty, then we will move on to citizens of the board. We have any? I don't think we have one.
We have to move clock because we're having.
Okay, do we have any?
Most of the time.
Okay, MVMXP.
It's in the summer for 3 minutes.
Well, I've got a couple of things because I finally figured out how to read your pre-questions of the agenda, whatever that first part is. And I was interested that only Ed asked questions. Sherry, you asked one question. Nobody else asked anything. And one of Ed's questions was, what does it mean that teachers aren't feeling supported? And I'm wondering if this is not in the HR report, the part of the report that the public can't see. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. I'm on the attendance committee, and every week, we talk about how to support teachers who are supporting kids to stay in school. And if a teacher doesn't feel supported in what she is doing in the classroom that keeps kids coming, then of course they don't feel supported, I'm sure, about other things. So I was glad to hear tonight something about coaching, Mr. Parr's report, and hopefully this will help. And then Cynthia talked about a satisfaction survey of current teachers rather than, maybe not rather than, but anyway. Exit interviews are important too, but I think the satisfaction survey is a really probably good tool to use. So I hope that that gets followed up on. Then I want to ask about the human resource report. I didn't hear anything tonight that Cynthia said that isn't something that I think the public couldn't read. And I know a lot of her report, or some of her report, may or may not include person's names, which of course is not for public consumption. I understand that. But what would be informative, I think, for the public, well, I'm like Joe Q public here, so informative for me, shall we say, but maybe I'm talking for others, I don't know. But would be some sort of summary statement, like these are the number of open positions. And you could even say what they are, bus drivers, et cetera, whatever they are. These are the number of open positions. These are the number of new hires. You don't have to say names at all. Let's see. Okay. Oh, and the number of people who have left in a month, in a time period. You don't have to say names about anything, but it does seem like that gives the public some idea about how well staffed is our school district. How robust are we? I don't know. I really don't know. If everybody's staffed, that's great. If you're missing some, that's okay. You're obviously working on it. There are a multitude of barriers. I understand that. But I do think it would be helpful if the HR report could be a little more public. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good timing.
Right, we'll hand that down to Deb. Thank you. Okay, all right. Discussion items, board discussions. Okay.
It's just addressing those. My question, what about the teacher support thing was just, because it seems like I hear that a lot of times about. And my question was basically directed at, what is that? What is that level? I mean, to some teachers, that might be having somebody touch base with them once a semester. Where another teacher might think, and principals chime in on this, whatever you think, and where some teachers think that it's holding their hand every day. I mean, there's a big variety there. So what is it? Whenever I hear that term, it's just a pretty vague term to me. So I don't know. Any principal, feel free to jump in and say what you think on that.
You felt the same thing as support is a very broad term and it's individualized. And so we have our staff identify what does support look like for me. And then what does I hear like we're not appreciated or like things like that. And so what does appreciation and praise look like for you or how do you want it? Some people want to be recognized in all staff meetings. Some people absolutely hate that.
Yeah,
and so,
exactly.
And so we make cards where our staff identify what support means to them and what praise and recognition looks like or feels like for them. And then the admins we have in the office that we can refer to outcomes.
Good.
Good.
That's exactly what I'm,
Yeah,
that's
that's
exactly
great.
what I'm
That's
looking
great.
at. So that's, yeah, everybody's different. I mean, some people would think, quit bugging me. I don't need to, you know? I mean, that's the way some are gonna be. And so how do you know? I mean, that's, yeah. So I'm glad that I wasn't the only one. I just thought that was such a vague term whenever I hear that. So that sounds good. Openings posted, they're posted on the website, right, Cynthia? So I mean, that should be public. I guess we don't have to put that executive.
I
Under
have
executive
the current openings list, but that list coincides with all of our positions that are open.
So I mean, that's a public record anyway, right? So I mean, that doesn't have to be
There's
under
no name, but-
executive, that could be under,
There's not anything attached.
It doesn't include the information on the consent calendar of how many people left this month.
no,
how many
no, just openings, yeah.
It's just the open positions. It's a little more detailed on the current opening list. It shows what positions are being held by long-term subs. Whereas that is not on the.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay,
I did mean to say in my report, I visited Louis Areola, went to your classes. Those chairs in second grade are really small. It was hard to get,
You don't want me to flip that and say you're just really big, right? Chair.
yeah, maybe that's it. But it was fun watching the little kids do their things and they were very organized. It was great. It was super. Went to a couple other schools too, and I enjoy being with kids.
We were glad that you made it out.
Thanks.
How has that been? I guess, how has it been going to all the schools and doing the mentorship kind of like?
It's hard for me to get there.
Hard to get that.
Yeah. I've got just a lot of other stuff going on and but I can grab some time, I do. Deb has got me scheduled to be at the school. I think the one that I've probably neglected the most is the middle school. And so I need to get there some more.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it.
Okay. Good. And principals, you guys have been doing a lot more as far as like the mentorship in the classrooms and that's been going well.
Every day.
Good.
Great. Are we ready for
AJ would
student-led,
be proud of you guys.
are we ready for student-led conferences this time, or are we shooting for next time? Spring conferences.
We did a combination of it already. I mean, because we have data folders and the kids go through that with the parents. I didn't call it student led, but
Right,
there was a component to each of ours that was, so.
sure.
We did the same thing too.
Okay. Drew, you did the same thing too, didn't you?
We're working towards it. We kind of set up the framework for it and to try to get the student folders ready and introduce them to them. Discussed it.
Lane, you guys do that in Central, don't you?
Yep.
Works well.
Are there any other board reports or board discussions? I'm sorry. Okay, all right, then we'll move on to our action items. Again, a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Madam President, I recommend that we approve the consent calendar as attached.
I make a motion to accept the consent calendar. A second it.
Great.
These policies are our first reading, so
Policies,
that.
yes,
except for that, those two on the bottom.
right.
Online voting is now available.
Mine,
Rice, are you able to vote?
mine's not coming up.
mine's not coming up.
How do you vote, Mr. Rice?
Yes.
How do you vote, Mrs. Wright?
Yes. Maybe it's because of.
Yeah, well, it's coming up yellow, yeah.
Oh.
To highlight that.
Oh, it right.
On your. That's just froze.
Oh, do I need to do it again? It came up again. Do we need to vote again?
It erased everyone's, but I put it back in.
It is safe.
So I don't need to vote it again. It's on my screen. Okay.
Motion passes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the capital reserve request for the Montezuma-Cortez Middle School trench drains and water diversion for the playground in the amount of $154,700?
Madam President, I make a recommendation that the board approve the capital reserve request for the Montezuma-Cortez Middle School trench drains and water diversion. It's the French drain for the playground. We were in a meeting this morning with the contractor, and we discussed several things, but you know that Christine promised that she would pay half of the French drain system. It's not just the French drain itself, but when it got so wet, that subsurface is kind of a mess. So to fix this right, we need to do another, what is it, $46,000 worth of work on the subsurface, Cody? Is that what?
Yeah, it was somewhere in there.
Yeah.
46.
So I recommend that we do this. Do it once, do it right, be done with it.
I make a motion to accept the capital reserve request for $1,000.
The other one,
No, 154.
150.
154, so
That could be in the wrong
You were.
Wrong capital reserve request, wrong request.
So anyway, I make a motion to accept it.
I'll second.
resolution.
Yep.
Data request October 12th, 2023, amount of request $154,700. Funds available $2,096,533 from account 43008000008000080. Identified by needs assessment, health and safety. Rationale for request, business office confirmation funds are available. Project coordinated with the maintenance department. Whereas the administration has a need of $184,700 to install drains and water diversion for the CMS play structure area. Now therefore be it resolved that $154,700 is authorized for expenditure from the capital reserve fund.
Did we get a second on that?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. We're going.
And to clarify, we're gonna, if this gets approved, it gets approved. We're gonna still try to work with the company that put them in on getting that reimbursed now.
Yes, sir.
Is that Christine?
Go for some of that.
That's Christine we're talking about. Yeah.
I'll do that before I leave the board.
We better hurry.
And we have funds that have been held back yet from payment,
We
correct?
still have, Danielle, we still have $30,000 or so that was held back from them,
35.
don't we? 30 or 35?
I
Oh, no, that was,
Okay.
Yeah. I want to see how much
Final payment.
because I know there was two different items. One was the French drain, and then the other one was like the drain in the
Right,
subfloor. I mean, I want to see if we can get them both.
right. I agree.
Good.
And the trench drain, we agreed, I agreed to that. That's all us.
Okay.
It'd be good to get those kids playing on that.
Yeah, I know.
How long has it
Poor
been?
kids.
For real, how long has it been?
A year.
When did we close that playground?
I feel like it's been over a
It's
year.
been over a year, I think.
No,
Well over.
we opened it in. Yeah. And it was. And it closed basically a year later, it was snow time, 2022, so not quite a year.
Wow. Been a long time.
This will be completed when?
2 weeks.
What he told us, it's about a 5 to 6 week process to get it done, but the problem is this time of year, do we have 5 or 6 weeks?
Yeah,
We don't know.
For the weather.
and the,
Whether-
that-
Have to wait for them to install.
Yeah, and they've got to use some kind of glue that's temperature sensitive. So you're probably not gonna have this until spring,
So,
late spring,
Spring break.
2 weeks after.
We can get back to a year and a half of our two.
Yeah, that's the other thing they promised, reset their warranty.
The last day of school, it's gonna be up and running.
Yeah.
Okay,
Online voting is now available.
So I vote yes.
Thank you.
It must be my computer.
Well, it came up now.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, action item C, capital reserve request for Montezuma-Cortez Middle School and Louis Ariola roof repair. Insurance deductible of $20,000.
Madam President, I recommend that we accept the capital reserve request for Montezuma-Cortez Middle School and Louis Ariola roof repair insurance deductible in the amount of $20,000.
Motion first.
I'll make a motion to accept the capital reserve request.
I second.
The date of request, October 12th, 2023, amount of request, $20,000. Funds available, $1,941,833 from account 430-800-00800-000-0080. Identified by needs assessment and health and safety. Project description, insurance deductibles for replacement of MCMS and Lewis roofs. Rationale for request, business office confirmation funds are available. Project coordinated with the maintenance department. Whereas the administration has need of $20,000 to cover the insurance deductible for the replacement of MCMS and Lewis roofs. Now therefore be it resolved that $20,000 is authorized for expenditure from the capital reserve fund.
So I do notice they have the wrong person
Yeah, you noticed.
bill to. Our roofing has Risha Vanderway
Where's it?
Oh, good.
In here?
on their invoice. But, and then the other thing, I guess, on Louis Ariola, what's the total of that roofing cost? I know ours portion is gonna be 10,000. But do we know what the full amount is?
Right?
It was approximately, I want to say, 464,000.
Okay.
It was a full roof replacement. From the decking all the way to the membrane. Wow.
Roofs are not.
Basically, everything got reset from middle school, for the whole heated room, there was no partials here and there. So now it's one warranty for the whole thing.
Okay.
For middle school and also the roofs.
These are already done now, is that right? So we're just, you know, the deductible, it's already been all works completed or
Just everything else, don't be directed to the insurance company. No billing was taking place through our finance, it went direct to the insurance. So everything was managed on that. I think middle school was 2.4 million. For them to do middle school. on that cost. So for 10,000. We're not to be a good deal, so we got to reset.
Yeah, that's it. We don't complain about that $500 deductible on our car.
But they are completed. The only thing we don't have yet, because it's all based on the membrane company, which is probably Carlisle or. They have to wait for the warranty and they do an actual inspection of the roofs. But they are very good with requirements out. But they just come and do a panel and then each 20-year plus shipping underneath any type of repairs. They call far off and then repair the membrane, it's all.
Or can I just say one, piece? I just want to say on the receiving end of getting a new roof and having Compare come in to look at that HVAC system, both of those companies were extremely efficient and had like really the highest level of communication with us in the building about what they were doing on a daily basis. They were both extremely professional, and I just want to thank you because we have an HVAC system that works. Thank you very much. and great for, really making that a priority.
Good, good to hear.
That is good.
And can I add, we did receive corrected invoices to the school district. So yes, the first one was addressed incorrectly, but we do have corrected invoices as of.
Well, I was just thinking we didn't have to pay it if it came to the wrong person.
Yeah.
We just need to forward, we just need to.
Forward it on. Forward it on her.
Okay. Okay.
Online voting is now available.
So I vote yes.
Thank you.
Let's do this.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Can I get a motion to move to executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, 4B, E, and F to discuss personnel matters regarding superintendent's evaluation, negotiation, and superintendent's contract?
I make a motion that we move to executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, 4B, E, and F to discuss personnel matters regarding superintendent's evaluation, negotiation, and superintendent's contract. I will invite Mr. Miller, the board, and Mr. Burris.
Second.
Just move into executive session.
I didn't catch.
Oh, yeah, we gotta vote. Yeah.
Right there.
Sherry Wright and then Ed Grace.
Mr. Walden.
Confirm for me.
Who was second?
The first and second.
Sherry Wright.
I made the motion.
Okay,
Ed Rice seconded.
thank you.
Okay,
At
7:20.
Yes. Because I didn't have time to go home and get my iPad, my computer's not talking to you.
The motion passed unanimously. President Noy, I didn't get your invitation. You all was invited.
The board, Mr. Miller, and Mr. Burris.
Thank you.
7:02. I'm guessing.
And someone take the.
That would be. 8:30.
Huh?
It's almost 8:30.
Oh, gosh. Okay, 8:15. Okay, so what time are we get back into?
So if you think you got it, Russ,
Sir.
Teller County mailed out their ballots and didn't put the board races on the ballot.
Oh, no.
Oh,
What?
Wow.
Who did
They
that?
mailed out the ballots without including the board races.
Oh, without the school board?
Oh, my gosh.
That was a pretty short ballot.
It's like HH and nothing else, right? I mean, whatever it is. I don't know.
What school district?
Can that be fixed in the park?
With the park, which is already like, you know,
oh, no,
Yeah.
pretty contentious.
8:17.
17.
They're going to look at that like something, yeah, we're like, okay.
I would like to convene back into our regular meeting from our executive session at 8:17. Okay,
And
and,
give me the, oh, maybe some transfer in there. I'll get them.
okay, can I get a motion for the action on matters discussed in executive session?
I make a motion that we accept the superintendent's contract. A second.
Any discussion?
I want to make sure I get the motion right because we have to type this one out. It's not already in there.
Okay.
Motion to accept the superintendent's contract. Thank you. Online voting is now available.
I vote yes.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay,
All this,
Get that in.
honestly.
okay, what time do we have?
We have
It's good.
8:18.
I would like to adjourn this meeting at 8:18.
Thank you.
Done.
You want my